My camera is actually about to die, like just now in this moment, but guess who broke her tripod? Broke my tripod. You know when you're like looking for something really hard and you're like getting really frustrated, so you're just like ripping shit out? I accidentally like grabbed my tripod leg and quite literally just ripped it off the hinges. But all good. Today's an exciting day because I'm going to the Blue Jays game, as per the hat, with my mom. So I'm like just killing time by reading a bit, having a coffee. Then we're gonna meet at a pub for a cheeky little pint beforehand. We're gonna watch the game. Good morning! Harmy and I are going to have a wonderful day today. We're about to go on a little walk. He looks kind of out of it and eepy, but he's very hyper right now actually. But as soon as I pick him up, he just, because this is all he wants, he literally only wants to be in my arms asleep. So as soon as I put him down, he screams at me, but that's fine. So we're gonna go have a cute little coffee and go for a little walk. Bye, my Carm. Bye, Carmy. Bye, Carmy.
Hi, Angel. Oh, you big.
The only boy ever. The only boy that has existed ever. Okay guys, I am about to sit down and just finish Sunrise on the Reaping because I've been reading it for like over a week now. Work has just been so fucking crazy that I literally just haven't had a second to really sit down and just finish it. So might make my third coffee of the day. Am I really thirsty and dehydrated? Absolutely I am. Absolutely I am. It's beautiful outside today. I think I'm also gonna go on a nice walk, maybe get a coffee. I can't even afford a coffee. Hey guys, this is my fit to go to the LCBO to pick up, I don't know, some coolers. My LCBO fit, I'm in my long as fuck shorts that I love. I don't even think it's warm enough outside to be wearing shorts. I might change into pants. I'm literally just walking down the street to the LCBO to get booze and then walk straight back home. And it's like a 10-minute walk, so it's really not that serious. But I put on this fit and then as I was about to leave the house, I was like, I look like a little bit dope. What's that about? I don't always just have PJs on with no makeup and look like a cave troll. Not a cave troll, a bridge troll. You guys remember Spiderwick when they had like the encyclopedia of all the creatures and there was like those bridge trolls and they would have the drawings of the bridge trolls? I would have the most heinous nightmares about those bridge trolls. To this day, the ones with like the really long fingers, do you remember that? That was crazy. I still have that book somewhere. On one of these shelves somewhere. I'm gonna look really ugly when I film this, but I don't care. I just finished Sunrise on the Reaping. I just want to say, if you are like in a really dark place mentally right now, do not just skip this one. Trust me when I say just skip over this one for now. I haven't cried at a book in a long time. It was so good. But I think this is the saddest Hunger Games book Suzanne Collins has written. The most horrific. Bleak, tragic, horrible. I mean, like, all the Hunger Games books are like that, but like this one is like, well, I mean, Haymitch is such a tragic character. You know, of course, you're always, like, curious about how he became that way and everything. Like, holy shit, you find out why. Yeah, so loved it. Sunrise on the Reaping by Suzanne Collins, the long-awaited prequel sequel to The Hunger Games. To make a long story short, I rated this 4 stars. I think that this is the most tragic book
in the Hunger Games series, and I will paint a picture of as to why I believe this. If you don't know what it's about, and you are familiar with the Hunger Games, it's about a character named Haymitch Abernathy, who is Katniss and Peeta's mentor when Katniss and Peeta get elected to go into the Hunger Games. He's like one of the only victors from District 12, and this book is about his experience in the Hunger Games, which was the 50th Hunger Games, which was the second quarter quell, which is like they do something special and crazy during those Hunger Games. Twice as many children were killed. Right? So from each district they had 2 boys and 2 girls that went to the Hunger Games. I think immediately upon beginning the book, since you know Haymitch and who he is and like the kind of person he is and the kind of life that he leads, you kind of know that it's going to be tragic just based off of your current knowledge if you've read the previous books. He's an alcoholic, severe alcoholic, obviously extremely traumatized. So when you start the book, you know that it's probably not going to end well for him in the first place. In every book, they really go into detail about like how the Hunger Games and just all of the basically torture that the Capitol puts Panem through is because they're punishing them for the rebellion, like the Dark Ages, the Dark Days, I think they're called. And though we already know this information, it is like a lot more highlighted in this book, I find. I think maybe because it is a prequel, so the Dark Days weren't very far behind them at this point, so like the vitriol and violence and anger and rage of the Capitol on the rest of Panem is so strong still. I mean, it's strong throughout the whole series, but it's like, because it's pretty recent in this book, it's like very pronounced, more so than the other books, I find. Like literally you can't get away with anything without being tortured by the Capitol. Like you can't step a toe out of line without them like torturing you or torturing someone you love. And something that I really love about acting and books, especially long series like the Hunger Games. For example, like in the first Hunger Games book, when you meet Haymitch, you're kind of like, fuck this guy, he's annoying, he's just so pessimistic. And what I love about Suzanne Collins' writing and the way in which she's taken the series with Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes and Sunrise on the Reaping, 2 characters that you're inclined to hate. I mean, I still hate Snow, but that's a different story. It really deepens your understanding of trauma. I just love figuring out what makes people tick. When there's someone who is obviously so traumatized and damaged, I am the kind of person that like I always want to know why. I'm like, what happened to you that made you this way? Like, we're not born this way. Like, you had to have had something horrible happen to you that you are now this miserable, sad creature that just wants to make everyone else miserable. I think this book is so important to the series because it adds so many of those layers, like so many of those blank areas where we're not really sure why he's like that. Anyways, that is like the non-spoiler review. I'm about to go into spoilers in the book, so if you haven't read the book and you want to read the book, then I'll put timestamps here, but you're gonna have to skip a few minutes. Okay, so let's talk about what really broke me in this book. One of my favorite characters in this book, maybe even my favorite character, was Maisie Lee Donner, who is one of the female tributes from District 12 who goes with Haymitch to the Hunger Games. And he describes their relationship as being very turbulent before, like she was kind of seen as a bully and like one of the rich kids in District 12. And when they get into the arena, build up this alliance and this friendship that is so strong to the point where he literally asks her if he can call her his sister, and she agrees. And just like everything in this book, like the end of Maisie Lee is so abrupt and shocking and horrific. What I find the most interesting about it is like it's written from the point of view of a 16-year-old boy, 16-year-old Haymitch. Like imagine you're 16 and you witness your best friend, who you now call your sister, get mauled to death by like herons, and their heron beak goes straight through her neck and fucking kills her in front of you. And it's like the way he describes it is so abrupt and so just like matter of fact, and then moves on. that it's like, that is how it happens in life. Like, not that I've seen anyone get killed by a heron before, but a sense of like, in a 16-year-old boy's mind, like, how do you can't comprehend that. You see it happen and then you just go, okay, like, anyways, I need to go find food. Like, it's just so well written in the way that you're just like, this is just so tragic and it's so horrific and it's so traumatizing. But this kid doesn't know how to compartmentalize all of this. I don't even think a fully grown adult would know how to compartmentalize the Hunger Games, to be honest. But I think the other most tragic part of the whole story is when he tries to go through with his plan to blow up the arena, when he finally does, but Silka is killed and he is now the victor, and the claw kind of picks him up before he can see the damage that he's done. One of the most infuriating parts to read for me was when he was at the victor interview at the end and they're playing back a summary of the Hunger Games and they have restructured all of the footage to make it look like he didn't actually have any of these important friendships, he didn't save anybody, he didn't fuck with the arena at all. Like, it's so 1984 the way that it's written, in like, the Capitol is Big Brother. They have the power to brainwash everyone in Pan Am into thinking what they think and believing what they want them to believe. All of his hard work and his trauma and his passion and his fear and love and anger was all completely wiped off of the footage, and he's just sitting there just being like, you made me look like an asshole because that's what you wanted me to be depicted as, and now everyone looks at me like I'm this asshole, but they love it. And oh my god, the end when Snow like says, have fun at your homecoming, and he goes home only to find his house being burned with his mother and young brother inside, to which they burned to death in front of him. And then on top of that, watching the love of his life get poisoned with what he thought were candies he was feeding her, but he was actually feeding her poison, and then she chokes on her own blood and dies in his arms. Her ghost follows him and tortures him throughout the rest of his life, through him having constant visions of the song about Lenore for the rest of his life. Like, the last, like, 3 chapters of this book are truly some of the most devastating literature I've ever read. Like, seriously. I love how Suzanne Collins writes it, where it's like, you can read in the text him losing it. A paragraph of something traumatizing happening, and then, like, the Lenore song, an excerpt from the Lenore Raven song, and then another, like, regular paragraph, and then an excerpt from the Lenore song. And the song is, like, a symbolism of, you can never escape her memory. It's such a smart and intelligent and hauntingly beautiful way of depicting grief. It's just always this dark cloud that follows you wherever you go, and you will never escape it, ever. The way that Suzanne Collins wrote it in this book was so powerful, like to the point where it was making me uncomfortable even reading it. It then ends with a very lovely excerpt of kind of Haymitch in the present. He's talking about Katniss and Peeta and how the ghost of Lenore Dove has finally forgiven him. They have this saying with each other where they say to each other, I love you like all fire. And then it ends. I'm literally gonna cry. Dude, it was so good, and it was just like, oh my god, it's just like unfathomable sadness. Unfathomable sadness. Like, I don't know. I remember there was a line in the end when he said, like, in my dream, one of my first dreams of Lenore Dove after she died, she had condemned me to life. She begged me to never let the sun rise on another reaping, therefore condemning me to life. Because death would be a release. Death would be the prize. But he wants to fulfill that wish of his love. So she had condemned him to live until that wish was fulfilled. So good. One thing about me, I love a wordsmith. I love a wordsmith. Okay? Anyways. So that was kind of long, but